What is going on, guys? Sonic and the Bean Show here. Today we are looking at the brand new Jakks specific Wave 2 Bendy action figures. I'm so looking forward to these because the first wave really impressed me a whole lot. So it's pretty awesome to see some more new characters here and another brand new wave already. So here's the first one here we have. This is another Bendy figure. This is actually, just a Bendy variant. This is the real world Bendy figure right here, just so you can see the whole package in here. But yeah, I would assume this is probably going to be similar to the one in Wave 1, but we do got some new accessories. This is, this one right here is new, and then of course the new backdrop that it comes with. But the packaging seems about the same too. Here's the other side. I mean, they all got the same side, but the back pretty much shows, what you're getting here, like the figure, then the accessories, and then of course the other figures here to collect right there. Here is Twisted Alice. This actually looks pretty nice. So we got Twisted Alice here. You can see everything that she's getting here, like the Tommy gun, and then that's her backdrop right there. And then here is the back right here, as you can see. And then next up we have here is Sammy Lawrence, and Sammy's one of my favorites, so this is pretty cool to have a brand new Sammy Lawrence figure. And then here's the back. Oh, that actually looks pretty nice right there, the backdrop. And then finally we got Piper. So our first member here of the Butcher Gang, which is really cool to see because we were originally supposed to get one from Fat Mojo. Unfortunately that never happened, but we do got Piper. And then the back of course just shows everything that you're getting here. Okay, so the first figure we'll be looking at here is Bendy. Now, you should already know what you're getting into as this figure is just a repaint. But I will say the paint job on this one is a whole lot cleaner than the one that came out in Wave 1. Like, the paint job is actually a whole lot better here. And, of course, the difference is, since this is the real world Bendy, the colors is going to be a little bit more different here. So, like, the bow tie is red this time. The vest is blue, and along with the pants right there, right? And here's just the back side. With the original one right here, we didn't have the dots here on the gloves, which I actually didn't even notice, but you are getting that here with this one right here. And another thing I've noticed is that, at least to me, it looks like the plastic with the gloves and then the face, they're like a little bit more shiny compared to this one. Maybe I can show it just a little bit if I zoom in for a bit. But yeah, this one just looks a little bit more shiny than this one right here. And then along with like the gloves, as you can see, like they look a lot shinier here. And then again, we got the dots, and I'm sure most people probably just painted the dots on this one themselves, but yeah, like the paint job around the vest looks a lot better. You can see the way how the buttons are. See how, like, I mean, the blue still gets on to the black a little bit, but it's not as bad as the yellow was. So yeah, but everything else, it's the same way, but just in a different color, right? So that's pretty much that. And again, really like the head sculpt though. I think they did a really nice job with the head sculpt on the Bendy figure. I really do like it. But yeah, that is the real world Bendy figure. So there's your little comparison. Now, we also got two new accessories for this guy. So we have the book right here, and I'll just zoom in, but you can see it does say The Illusion of Living, Joey Drew. And it is just, it's all black though. There's not much else with it, So yeah, that's all there is. And you can have Bendy hold on to the book, which is nice. So there you go, you got the book in hand. And then we got the backdrop right here, which is cool. And while I have the figure right here, let's compare it to the other Bendy right here with the backdrop as well. And then it also came with this train. I'll just throw in, so here we have these two together right here. So there you go, look at that. So that's pretty cool. Next up here is Twisted Alice, and she's actually pretty neat. I really do like the head sculpt here. I really like how like creepy and sort of angry she looks here. You can even see like the damage, to the side of her face, like all melted here. So you can see like the ink coming out of her eyes and like around her her face right there, or well, at least like to where her mouth is, and even like the bumps here, from the damage of her face, and like the broken halo, that's sticking out of her head, and then you got her horns there as well. Like, it's actually pretty nice, and so far the paint job doesn't really seem too bad here. Somebody was telling me that people were having like some misprints going on with the eyes. I can't really tell if mine is bad, honestly, just because like half of her face is melted, so it's kind of hard to tell if the eye is like too spaced out or so. But I mean, I don't know, so far mine, it seems okay. It's really hard to tell from me, but I don't know. I mean, so far just from looking at it, I think it looks okay, hopefully. But I mean, yeah, I do like it so far. Now everything else though, on the other hand, it is gonna be pretty close to Audrey, where like most of everything else is like just all plain black, like just all plain black plastic. But she got a few things going on, like you can kind of see like the bow tie right here on her chest, and then this the bow right here, like around her dress, and of course the ink all around like her shoulders here. Now for her accessories, she does come with the Tommy gun right here. So let me actually just show this off a little bit. There is a little bit of paint on here. You can see there is like a little bit of like black paint around and a little bit of shading, right? So that's not too bad. The only issue I have here is that she has a hard time trying to hold on to the gun. So she holds it with this hand right here. You can see the way how her finger is. Of course you would put that through the trigger. My only issue is that she can't really grip onto the gun as well. I feel like the gun, it just kind of relaxes on her hand. She doesn't really get a good grip onto it. Like, as if I move it just a little bit, the gun will tend to slide off. So that's my only issue right there. And this was an issue I had with oh well, I think I may have gotten it a little bit better here. But this was like an issue I had with like their Apex Legends figures, because there were some characters that would have a hard time trying to hold their guns, and that was something I never really liked. But luckily I think I got it on here pretty well. I think it's sitting on there pretty well now. And then we have her backdrop right here, which is actually pretty nice. This actually came out really well done, as you can see. And then of course you have like the stand right there, and it is playing on the back, as you can see. But yeah, it's pretty nice. I really do like it. So that's how she looks, with the backdrop, right? So the head is just on a ball peg. It's actually pretty good. She can get a little bit of movement here. You got like your tilts, with the head, and she can't really like look up though due to the hair, and not as much to really look down. But you can get your rotation. The hair will come in contact with the shoulders, but you can still move the hair over the shoulders, so she'll be able to look off to the side. And I mean, if you want to mess around with it more, you can have her look behind you like that, right? But yeah, not so bad. You got some movement there with the head, so not so bad right there. For the arms, they move back and forth. There is a hinge to the shoulder. It has a ratchet to it, but you do get some pretty good range out of that. So it goes high just about there. You do have single jointed elbows, so no bicep swivel, but you do get a swivel with the elbows there. Wrists do swivel and hinge, so you get a hinge out of the wrist right there. You're not really going to get a lot of movement with her legs at all. You can move them out to the side a little bit, just a little bit, because there is like a cut where her legs would be at. So you can, have the legs go out to the side, but that's just about it though. You only get that much. She can't really like, kick forward or back at all, honestly, just because of that. And I'm sure they're on ball sockets, but because of the dress being a hard plastic, you can't do much right there. So that kind of sucks right there. But the knees, at least, they're single jointed. You can rotate that. And then for the ankles, I'll actually zoom in just a little bit, but they go far back, just about there, far forward about there, and then you do have a pretty decent ankle rocker. So for a comparison, here she is next to Audrey, and I want to say they're about the same height. It kind of looks like that to me. Yeah, I would definitely say they're pretty much about the same height. I wish Audrey's arms could go a little bit closer to her her sides than what they did here for the Twisted Alice figure. But yeah, not too bad. I think both of these look pretty nice next to each other, so that's really cool. So that is Audrey right there. I'll do another comparison. Let me actually just get her a little situated there. But here she is next to Allison. This is the Fat Mojo Allison figure. I don't think this figure will be able to stand that well because I always had a hard time trying to get her to stand on her own. Okay, I think I got it right there. But yeah, there she is next to the Fat Mojo Allison figure. Here is the Tom figure right here. And Tom's going to be a lot taller, as you can see. So if I just put it back, that's how they look next to each other. And then I'll throw in Bendy right here. Just move her a little to the side. And yeah, there you go. So that's how Bendy scales right there. And then I'll take her out, but I'll throw in, the Alice Angel figure, the Fat Mojo Alice Angel figure right here, if you want to see how that is. Next up here is Sammy Lawrence. Starting out with the head sculpt, you can see the Bendy mask that is sculpted around the figure. So you can see, like, of course, the mask all around the head right here. I believe it is actually molded on, though. I don't think there's really a way to take the mask off of this. But, overall, you can't see the mask does have a hole, between the mouth right here, right? And you can still see, like, the ears. I got, like, ears, and then between there it does show like the nose and then the mouth with the plain black head right there. So yeah, there's some sculpting going around with the head, but I do think the Bendy mask on the head sculpt looks pretty nice too. So that's really cool right there. So yeah, not too bad. We do got the straps around Sammy as well. That does, go onto his pants, strapped here to the pants. I will say this, I'm not really a fan of the way how, like the way how the coloring is here compared to the pants, and especially like just how sloppy it is around the straps here, as you can see, like on the bare black plastic, so I do wish that was painted a little bit better, but everything else doesn't seem too bad here. Of course, you got like the yellow pants here, and then all the ink around there, plain black boots. Now for the accessories, we do get the banjo right here, and then you have the backdrop right here, and it's a little hard to see if you can kind of see that, but it does say Psycho Breakers across here. This backdrop is similar to Audrey, where you have to connect another cardboard piece between there, and it is like plain black. I always have a hard time trying to do these though, because I was having a hard time trying to do Audrey, because for Audrey you have to like do that with the bottom. For this one you're doing the top, and I still don't think I really did it that well. It's kind of messed up here to the side, but yeah, that's the backdrop right there. So I'll just put Sammy in front of it right here, right? Now let's go over the articulation. So we do have a single ball peg for the head. You actually do get some pretty good movement all around. As you can see, Sammy can actually like look up, not much to look down, but you also got a little bit of tilt going on there, so you can tilt at the head, and then of course you have like your rotation as well. For the arms do move back and forth. We do get a hinge to the shoulder, which goes out about there. We actually do get a bicep swivel for Sammy, and then we are single jointed with the elbows. You get that much range right there. You also get a rotation, and then wrists do swivel and hinge as well. Now for the torso is not really all that great. You can't really have Sammy like really crunch forward as much. That's as much as you get, and then can't really like go back either. You can get a rotation though, but it does break the sculpt since the straps aren't really connected anymore. It looks kind of weird, honestly. So you pretty much got like your rotation and a little bit of like rocking back and forth, and you can go off to the side a little bit, so it's like a little bit right there, but that's pretty much about it. And even the hips are pretty limited. Like you can't really have Sammy like kick forward or back really. You're only going to be able to just kind of put the legs out to the side, but even this leg doesn't really want to move at all, honestly. So yeah, very limited with the hips. There is actually a cut right here, so there is a rotation there. We are single jointed with the knees. Even then, that's like not really a lot of range, but you can also rotate that as well. And then the ankles, not so much either. Like it goes back about there and then just far forward about there, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So the articulation is going to be better at the upper body, but the lower body not so much. Now for a comparison, here we have it next to the Fat Mojo Sammy Lawrence figure, and you can see that this figure is a whole lot taller and bigger actually. Like even, you know, having these two side by side, the Fat Mojo one definitely towers over the Jakks one right here. I honestly don't know exactly how tall Sammy is, so I'll just, you know, throw in, you know, just the Jakks Bendy figure. So, you know, I guess you can decide for yourself which, you know, which do you think is probably more accurate, you know, scale wise for Sammy. But yeah, the Fat Mojo one is definitely a whole lot bigger here. So, you know, there's that. So I also forgot that figure came with like this little bendy stand. It had like a handle here, and for this figure, I don't necessarily know if I can see if that will work. Maybe I can. No, wow. Okay, so it does actually work. So you have that right there. So that's cool. So here's the axe that came with the Fat Mojo Sammy Lawrence figure, and I know Sammy would usually have an axe too. This one's not really gonna work though. It seems a bit too small for the hand. But if you still have the axe that came, you know, with the Tom figure by Jakks, you know, this can actually work too. So, you know, that right there works pretty fine. So you can use that for Sammy if you want. And finally, the last one we have here is Piper, and man, check out this head sculpt right here. This looks really cool. Look how creepy looking he is. There's a ton of details going on with Piper as well. Obviously you can see, of course, like the open mouth here, right? Like the tongue, the teeth right there. There's even a little bit of detail going on like the inside of the mouth too. You can see like a little bit of shading with the black paint, right? That looks crazy. And then along with like the eyes too, you can see like the ink, you know, coming out of the eyeball right here. Then you got like, you know, the patch there. You got like the full hair here along with the beard, the giant ears. Here's the back of the head. You can see like the button as well. And then look at this right here, how they sculpted this. And you know, with Piper, you know, since you know, he's all banged up, you got like the missing hand that's like, you know, kind of cut off here, and then along with the foot too. Yeah, this is a really crazy figure. I like how they captured the head sculpt here with like the open mouth too. Like they did a pretty good job with that. You can even see like a little bit of the wrinkles around the face too. Like just such nice details, man. They did a really nice job with this Piper figure. I really do like it. So that's really cool. So now for the accessories. So of course Piper is coming with the pipe wrench right here, as you can see. So you got his wrench, and that goes on to this hand right here. And then we also have the backdrop right here. So that's how the backdrop is, the stand, and then here is how he looks. Now let's go over the articulation. So starting with the head, it is only a single ball peg, but because the head sits pretty low, there's not a lot you can do unless you move the head just a little bit up. Then you'll be able to get a little bit more movement. That's if you want to move the head a little bit more, but you know, when you place it, you know, down, you know, it's pretty limited. So yeah, you are just gonna get your standard, you know, rotation. And just I mean, the tilt's well see, there you go. I was gonna say maybe the tilt's not too bad, but I just popped it off, so not a whole lot of tilts you can do right there. But yeah, that's that right there. For the shoulders, I'll do both arms though. But yeah, arms do, you know, go back and forth. You do get a hinge to the shoulder, and then we are single jointed with the elbows, and you have a rotation as well. And then for this arm, a hinge to the shoulder, which goes high about here. Of course, they move back and forth. You have your single jointed elbows, rotation, and then wrists do swivel and hinge, since he does have a hand for this arm right here. Nothing going on with the torso. But for the legs, so he has the same problem with the hips with Sammy, where he can't really kick forward or back actually. not a whole lot you can really do for him to kick forward or back at all, even with this leg too. So you're just gonna have him just go out to the side, and you know, that's all you get right there, just for him to go out to the side. And then we do have our single jointed knees. You get that much range. There is a rotation. And then for the ankles, a little bit of a hinge, not so much. It's not like a lot of range you get right there. That's as much as you're getting. And then you can move this as well. There is a hinge, as I showed off, so you know, you can hinge back about there. And yeah, pretty much that. So that's the articulation for Piper right there. Now here is one last comparison right here. This time I grabbed all of the other Jakks specific Bendy figures. Well, minus the real world Bendy, since it is the same way. But here's everyone else, you know, next to each other. Here's like, you know, all of the other characters. And this is a really cool comparison, seeing all these figures that they've made so far. Just to show where Piper scales with everyone else. And then along with the, you know, the Ink Demon figure right there. Alright, so that is going to wrap it up here on the Jakks specific Wave 2 Bendy action figures. Overall, this is another great wave, man. It's really cool seeing the different accessories and backdrops that these characters are getting. They do a fantastic job with the sculpts on these figures while trying to capture them from the game. I really do like the Twisted Alice and Piper figures. Their head sculpts are really impressive, especially Piper. The amount of detail in this guy is amazing. Sammy isn't too bad either. I just think his articulation could have been a lot better in some areas. And as for Bendy, it is the same figure from Wave 1, but I actually did enjoy the Bendy figure when I first reviewed it. And this real world Bendy figure is painted a bit better as well. So I have no issues with it. The sculpt is really good, articulation is great, and the paint job is nice too. So other than the limited range of some characters' articulation, I'd say Jakks did it again by making another successful wave on the Bendy action figures. But let me know, what are your thoughts on this in the comments down below. If you want to pick these up, they are available at Walmart. As always, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Until then, take care, my friends.